It's June 11th, 2017. You're listening to the Fancy Ramen podcast. I'm Neil Leung.
I'm Cookies Kamilk.
And this is Scott.
This week we'll be going over some pre-E3 talk, including our thoughts about EA's pre-E3 showcase. They held that yesterday. Our predictions, our hopes, and whatever else applies. Since we're recording this on Sunday morning, there's a chance this episode won't get out until after the Sunday conferences. Specifically, Microsoft, Bethesda, and Devolver Digital is apparently doing their thing again. Before we get to E3 and EA's pre-E3 show, I wanted to talk a bit about some things that happened this week and in the past. In particular, when Cookie, you were joining us from Chicago, we talked a little bit about Microsoft Scorpio and what the actual name will end up being. I know you just saw the teaser video for the Scorpio, but this last week, Microsoft did two big things. First one being they put out a trademark for an S logo that specifically is like an S missing like a middle section, kind of like a stencil, but you wouldn't necessarily need that middle section.
Correct.
The second thing was they released an Xbox teaser video, and I don't know if you've seen it, Scott.
I haven't seen it yet, no.
There are a few particular freeze frame sections, or like these sections that if you slow it down or freeze it, you get some interesting messaging behind it. The first one is the text 6 greater than 4, the caret sign, if you will, or that left-pointed one, right-pointed. That assuredly refers to the number of teraflops the Xbox has over the PS4 Pro. And then you also have the message X10S101-317. If you search that up alone, you come across a Radio Electronics magazine cover that has a crude mock-up of R2-D2 of Star Wars fame. And then you also have the text on the article saying, build this robot for under $400, which that seems like a decent clue that the Xbox Scorpio is going to be $400 or $399. On top of that, you also can take away the last 6 digits of the text as the date, 10/13/17 as the possible release date for the Xbox Scorpio, leaving you with X10S. So, guys, how does Xbox 10S sound to you for a console name?
Why don't we just stick with the Xbox Scorpio since that sounds cool?
You know, reading this docket, seeing the last sentence that you actually didn't read on it, I don't mind X1S.
Yeah, I thought to myself, if there's supposed to be a period, or if there would be a period, Xbox X1S might have a ring to it, but then is that not crossing into dangerous waters with the Xbox One S?
I didn't even think about that. Because they do have an Xbox One S. Oh, dumb. What's a teraflop?
It's unit of measurement that measures the amount of badassness your console has.
Very good. Very good. Stupid name. It doesn't matter what we name it, though.
It's more to Xbox and Microsoft form in the first place to have a stupid name, though. Like, they're the only company that doesn't like to follow some sort of standard or reasonable naming convention. And I'm giving Nintendo a pass because
they justified their names.
Yeah, they've always justified the name off of like the console's like intrinsic qualities. Like the GameCube was a gaming device shaped like a cube. The Wii was fun, and you said "Wii" when you played it. Like
I thought they were going for Wii Play.
Oh, I mean that
Wii
works too.
can play together was their commercial.
Yeah, and then the Wii U, the tablet is how you're able to have it is like a more single player kind of experience, or the Wii U is in the sense that like there's one particular main controller and that's for you, and then there's the auxiliary Wiimotes from the last console version. I don't know, they made enough sense to me.
What have you been doing this particular week before we get into the E3 craze?
Oh, I mean, besides frantically catching up on all the E3 stuff that's happening while I'm still settling in, man, I've done a lot. I've worn a hat. That's pretty crazy. I haven't worn a hat in like 10 years almost. My head's really small now that I don't have any hair, and so it's hard to find a hat that fits. I went fishing. That was also really awesome. Haven't done that in about a decade as well.
Did you catch anything?
No, the water was so fast and really high right now. Not saying climate change, but climate change. It's the rivers and waters have been a little crazy this season apparently. Otherwise I'm just like unpacking my stuff, moving in, and I finally got to start playing Persona 5 and realizing how like it's a blast, but I'm almost overwhelmed at how much there is to do and how long everything takes. Like I just finished my first heist as the Phantom Thieves, and I think I'm 12 or something hours in. It takes a long time.
Your first real heist, or was that the heist that you impromptu do because you need revenge?
The absolute first heist, which is the castle, which I think I can leave it at that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's as far as I am, and already it's to the point where like I got halfway through the dungeon, and I've been playing with my girlfriend watching. Like that's her one request is she doesn't want to play the whole game. She just wants to watch me play it and enjoy it alongside. And so we were playing the other night, and we got halfway through the castle, and your colleagues will comment on how far you are, but we thought that we were definitely at like the end of the castle. We were like, there's a boss fight just around this corner. And then we go to leave and they do the summary and they're like, okay, we're about halfway through the castle. And we're like, Jesus Christ, how big is this building? What could possibly be left?
While we're talking about this, maybe it's a good time to talk about a recent review that IGN came out with. There's a better way to put that. On Thursday, there was a review released with Katsura Hashino, who's the director of Persona 3, 4, and 5, as well as some other games, regarding his departure from the P studio, Atlus's studio.
Why are you calling this a review? It's just an article, Neil.
Oh, interview.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Did I say review?
You kept saying review.
I don't know why.
And I was
I'm
like,
sorry.
they're not reviewing anything in that.
Review. We're reviewing his departure, much like we've reviewed LeBron James' departure from the Cavaliers to the Heat. It was well done, well played, classy move. Anywho,
Sports.
He left essentially P Studio, and this actually happened in 2016 when I was out of the loop and basically blocking all news related to Persona 5 to avoid spoilers. So, FYI, that's out there. And he has a new studio under Atlus named Studio Zero, with their first project, Project ReFantasy. ReFantasy, which I hate the name, but whatever, that's fine. It's just a project name, and hopefully it's not actually what it will be. We're not going to talk about the necessary or the effects over Persona 5 or Persona 6, excuse me, and what the series will be, because when we're doing our spoiler cast for Persona 5, I figure that'll be a better time to discuss that. But I'm really curious about what this new game could be, because if you go through the interview, he has a lot of really cool quotes. Two in particular are, quote unquote, "I'm not particularly interested in returning to some golden heyday of fantasy games," and "We feel we can build a world of illusion that takes the kind of societal issues we use in Shin Megami Tensei or Persona games."
Shin Megami Tensei is going to be making this game?
Yeah. So Hashino is actually the director of Nocturne, which was my first game in the SMT universe. And Nocturne is real fucking cool and completely different from Persona 3, 4, and 5. Excuse me.
Wait, how can it be cool and different from Persona 5?
That's a good point.
Yeah, Persona is the definition of cool.
Yeah, but as a whole, there's very little out about Project ReFantasy. But after going through this interview, I just felt to myself like, damn, I think I'm more excited about this new project than any like hypothetical Persona 6 at this point.
So, Project ReFantasy or Death Stranding?
Oh, ReFantasy by far.
Okay, fair enough.
What I can say that I found very interesting or cool about it is that he said, there are these like already established fantasy tropes, such as like Tolkien and whatnot. And he's like, since we're complete amateurs, we want to, make our own complete fantasy concept separate from any other like form of inspiration if possible. Yeah. Which is really ambitious to say. It's super ambitious to say that I want to generate something brand new that doesn't take from any sort of context that normally permeates any approach to like tackle this genre.
And it's very important too to state that he mentions Tolkien, Record of Lotus, Wizardry, D&D, like very big paradigms of the fantasy world. And to have the recognition of them and then to cast them aside, I think is important because you know that he has the knowledge and the upbringing with these fantasy giants, you could say. But to intentionally put it aside is powerful.
It would seem like a very cocky statement if it wasn't coming from someone that, at least from the work that I've experienced of theirs through Persona and, other Shin Megami Tensei content. It's a very bold move, but it seems like he's got the confidence that he'll be able to deliver upon it, and I'm excited to see what that could be.
I'm also really excited to see what Soejima has to offer. He's been the character designer for the Persona series since Persona 3, and because of that, I'll be honest, I kind of thought that Kaneko was the art director for so long. I don't know how I got that mistaken. But Kaneko is the guy that does the majority of the original Atlas RPG titles like SMT. Did the Personas up before 3, and that's when Soejima took over.
Wait.
Shin Megami Tensei?
Is Persona Atlas?
Yeah. Shin Megami Tensei is Atlas as well. It's like their core franchise.
But there's no one with big boobs in it.
I'm pretty sure most of the big boobed Atlas games, like Stella Glow, are all third-party developers.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about it now because look at all of the Persona waifus as a whole. Like, there's no one with ridiculous proportioned bodies. Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, they're all definitely very reasonable. I mean, besides the like completely unrealistic body standards of say Teddy or the dog. Right.
But and of course taking into account that it's anime as well, so there's always like the cartoonish proportions, but within that reasonable scale, like nothing goes way over the top. Like obviously everyone is way too skinny in these games, like unrealistically skinny. But
I mean nobody looks like they'd have the SUV high rollover risk sticker put anywhere on them.
So Soejima.
Shin Megami Tensei?
Yes, him. I'm excited to see what he does in a fantasy setting because the last time I think he did anything fantasy related was like a PS2 game, and the artwork was really cool and really neat. But he's also advanced a lot since then. And then Shoji Meguro, the composer who's been a part of Persona since the first game. I don't think I've heard anything by him set in a more fantasy-based setting. I know he's done some stuff.
His wheelhouse is all contemporary, it seems, isn't it?
It certainly seems that way. But it's also an issue with us assuming that it needs to be generic fantasy-driven music.
Did you just assume that fantasy's gender?
Did I use a text-based?
No.
Oh, no, okay. Just making sure. I'm sorry, fantasy, the genre and ideal, that Wikipedia, the person himself or herself, has
Did you just
already
assume Wikipedia's gender?
I unassumedly assumed that I should use himself first and then herself second. Yes.
Herself first, always. Anyway, this is not the omake.
Anywho, like that's just my overall thoughts on ReFantasy, but I am overly hyped and maybe a little too soon because we're probably not going to see it till like 2019.
Wait, does Sony have something to do with it?
No, but
okay, that's good. There's a chance.
Wait, technically there is a chance because they did make Persona 5 console PS4 exclusive all the way through. Doesn't really seem like there's any chance it's going to PC, and yeah.
Oh, so never mind. Cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe they might have something in hand there.
Quick question on the ReFantasy thing. Do any of you guys suspect that it has to do with the fact that they're like reestablishing the fantasy genre by doing this like reset or reboot? I know I said a lot of words that start with re right there, but do you suppose like this whole naming convention is just to stick with the fact that they're trying to do this groundbreaking shakeup to the fantasy genre?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's really good to point that out. The only reason I begrudgingly take that title as something like I don't like is just because the anime industry as a whole has really been pushing the aspect from
They definitely have.
Yeah,
ReZero, right?
Re-Life, Re-Creators, I'm missing like half of the titles out there.
But yeah, the fact that you're able to name 3 off the top of your head demonstrates how saturated the industry is with that idea right now. And it seems like a PR, it seems really like a PR naming. Like there's no other reason than to bring in interest. Like, oh, it's what are they rehashing now?
Back to the topics on hand.
You mean back to the E3 hype train?
Yeah, exactly. You know it.
Yes.
So E3's pre-show conference happened.
EA's pre-show conference.
Yeah, sorry. And I'm going to go through the list of things we were introduced to, and then we'll double back over and actually talk about the titles we're interested in. To start with, BioWare's new IP, Anthem, was revealed. We got some more Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Woo!
A new co-op experience known as A Way Out from the developers of Brothers.
Woo woo!
Need for Speed Payback. Battlefield 1 new maps and content. FIFA, Madden NFL, and NBA Live 18. And then we get free Origin access for Xbox and PC users with the caveat of having to install Origin. PS4 users also get free trials or something like that.
I was looking for those. I don't know how to find them.
I'm pretty sure they just said that so PS4 users weren't like butthurt about it.
I was definitely looking. I was like, oh, sweet, I get free trials of things. I wonder what I get a free trial of. I'm going to turn on my PlayStation for the first time in years. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I guess I'll add the free PlayStation Plus games to my library.
So as a whole, I know a lot of these titles don't necessarily resonate with any of us that much.
Whoa.
Some of the titles.
What titles don't resonate with you?
Okay, FIFA, Madden,
wait.
NFL.
We're getting that on Switch.
Without the journey.
Yeah,
without the story mode, which is the only reason why
No. Without what's his name story mode.
So you still Alexander Hunter?
Yeah. So you still have career mode.
Yeah, but it's not movie mode. I would rather play a sports game if it involved having a scripted out movie sequence, and then I could just skip through the games.
So are you gonna get that new Madden then?
Don't you just want Football Manager or whatever, and then cutscenes where one of your players breaks an ankle? That's all you're asking for.
You know, if you told me there was a story-oriented football management sim out there, I would totally be down. Even if it's like text-based, I am down for that shit.
Neil says, if there's story and tedium, I'm going for it.
Yes, you know it.
Please bring me the tedium. I want to waste more hours of my life.
More
tedium. I don't have enough content.
As for Madden NFL 18's new story mode, I think it's interesting. I watched the preview of it, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Do you think EA is ever going to cast a white person for one of their sports games story modes? They got to do an NHL one eventually, right?
Well, it's not just EA doing it, but it's also 2K. They were the one with the Spike Lee.
Oh, yeah. 2K did the Spike Lee joint with the black guy.
Which was obviously
a Spike Lee joint?
The best thing ever. I really highly recommend for anyone watching this or listening to go and check out all of the cutscenes because they are amazing.
I actually played through it.
Were you not riveted?
It was a Spike Lee joint.
Yeah, so you cried at the end. As
the blackest person here, I'm good. Whenever I hear Spike Lee joint, I kind of just avoid it. But I was like, Spike Lee joint video game? What? Okay, I'll try this out. Anyway, speaking of black people in sports, EA.
Anthem. That looked like something. As very little as we got from it.
They gave you nothing. There's nothing to talk about yet.
Well, there is one thing to talk about.
Shepard?
mechs.
It literally looks like it was just like, oh, here's some rejected N7 armor from Mass Effect that's turning into a game.
You're totally right. Like I 100% agree. There's some sort of like renegade looking kind of helmet in I think the second game that more or less would be like a similar concept design to what the protagonist in Anthem's helmet is. It's almost the exact same thing.
Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Woo! I'm actually
Yeah.
pretty stoked for that.
So I wasn't the biggest proponent to the first Star Wars Battlefront for a variety of reasons that I really don't need
You're
to whine
talking about the
now.
reboot, like the recent
The
first
reboot
one, right?
Yeah, because I don't know how many hundreds of hours I had on the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2,
Sure.
but it's enough to say that I was definitely a big fanboy of those first games.
Everyone was, Scott. Everyone was.
It's true, yeah. Anybody who wasn't a fanboy just didn't have a system to play it. Like, that's the total truth.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will say I'm really excited about Battlefront 2, if only because there's droids. And I loved playing the droids. The droids are the fucking shit.
I hope they like say weird off the cuff shit in it as well.
They still have the weird, like, high-pitched kind of buzzing voice. Like, that's great, too. Oh, man. But I can't... Yeah, I can't wait to be a droidica if it's still possible and just fucking roll through town, put up some shields, and start mowing down some stormtroopers.
I hope it's possible. Oh, so what do you think of the new, instead of picking up the random cards, because I'm pretty sure that's one of the things you didn't like about the first rebooted Battlefront. I didn't like that about
you were
Battlefront.
Correct.
No one liked that. No one liked that. So what do you think of this new point system? As long as you're playing the objective, you're being a good team player, and that's just going to put you in. What do you think of that?
That's way better. I totally agree with that. It should incentivize better teamwork and like objective play, and that's the whole goal for a lot of people. I mean, lots of people just want to get, their KD at the end of a match, but ultimately people like winning, and to win you got to have teamwork. And so if you can like gently incentivize that with the structure of the game, I'm all for it.
Are you sure that's going to gently
Incentivize?
Thank you. I almost said instructivize. Gently incentivize people with that, because I'm just thinking this is getting a little closer and closer to the Call of Duty formula. Because you've got to create your own custom class now, and then you're getting points based off of what you do. Granted, it doesn't reset every time you die, thank goodness. So it's just like when Call of Duty introduced their passive, so like you get less points, but you keep them as you die. So
you don't run out of points. You don't get set back.
So it's just going to tell you, people are just going to be running around with SMGs in small corridor spaces, because an SMG in that first area is just going to be Sniper Haven. Because did you see the video?
Yeah, I did. Oh, man. I loved it.
Oh, it looked good. Oh, what are your thoughts, Neil?
Looks like a game.
There's not enough story mode in it.
No, we'll put it this way. There's not, like, there wasn't enough actual gameplay for me to go through or to watch to make me think it was going to be any better than the first re-released, remade Battlefront. Like,
but the features.
Yeah. It looks better. It looks really good. Like, from a graphical standpoint, that game looks fucking awesome.
When was the last time you saw the first Battlefront? That game looked fucking awesome, too.
Yeah, I guess so, too. I guess.
Yeah.
As soon as you see Frostbite, you're just like, realism.
There's just a lot of things that really bugged me about the first game. Like, if you're going down your scope, it's not actually true to where your scope is pointed. It's still pointed at the center of your screen, just zoomed in. So you could have allies get in the front of your gun, even though they're not really in the front of your gun in-game.
Yeah, it's the Fallout 3 zoom, my absolute favorite. And by that I mean sarcastic favorite type of zoom.
Right.
Like, let's just pretend that the camera zoomed in about 6 more inches down your arm.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
Aim. No, it doesn't. I would like to say though that Battlefront 2, like, I'm trying to pretend that this is the first time that a Battlefront reboot has been done. Yeah, I'm kind of ignoring the first Battlefront ever happened.
Wait, there was a Battlefront before Battlefront 2?
Yeah, I guess
That's
maybe
the right
not.
attitude.
Because if you think about it, Scott, even for the original Battlefront, which one did you play more, Battlefront or Battlefront 2?
Battlefront 2, baby. You got to get those space battles in every once in a while.
Exactly. So there's never been
I
a
will
Battlefront.
Say, though, the very original Battlefront had some really killer maps. Like,
It did.
I wish I could have played Battlefront 2 mechanics on some Battlefront maps, like Bespin Cloud City.
Oh god. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I'm hoping that there will still be more conditional games like in the recently remade Battlefront 1, the Battle of Hoth.
Those would be super sweet. I don't see why there would be any reason to take those out. Like, you have the added benefit or tension of it being an actual event that happened in the movies, and so people are able to like tie in with that and get more excited about the outcome. I couldn't see any reason why they would decide not to have some more conditional fights from the I guess what would you call it, the prequel saga?
If you mean by like episode 1 through 3?
I don't think it's specifically episode 1 through 3, but I mean they're bringing in units from or not the prequels. I'm sorry,
the original,
The original
4 through 6.
No,
new hotness.
never mind. It is the prequels. I get so confused because everything looks newer and shinier in episodes 1 through 3, and then everything looks like shitty space garbage in episodes 5 through 6.
Practical effects,
And then-
boy.
Yeah, exactly. It's the special effects. And then for some reason, though, they keep the shitty looks for episode 7 so far and Rogue One, which is fine.
Because they have to. Because it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
It was way shinier in the past, and then when Samuel L. Jackson gets killed, things started looking very dreary in that universe.
So true.
Pretty much.
He does die on camera, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he get chopped in half and thrown out of a building? Or is that just Anakin?
Or is that just Darth Maul?
No, Darth Maul gets chopped in half, but I'm pretty sure Samuel L. Jackson dies by...
Does
he die by lightning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did he also get thrown out of a window?
Sidious zaps him, yeah, and tossed. Like, poor Samuel L. Jackson gets manhandled.
But at least he got
It's
his
not
purple lightsaber. That's all that
He
matters.
did, yeah. It's really not fair. He should have. I mean, the problem is that he didn't use his Jedi mind trick to have him take out his badass motherfucker wallet and then realize who he was, and then just leave him alone. Next time.
Let's move on to
Omake!
A Way Out. So this game's developed, oh god, I can't recall the studio name now, but they worked on Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. A Way Out seems to be a prison escape / what lies beyond it cooperative game between two players, two very different characters trying to get out of jail. And as we see from the trailers, getting out of jail and enjoying more life afterwards.
I mean, if enjoying life means beating up all the cops who come after them after they break out of jail.
Yes.
I just had a epiphany. Scott, you couldn't see my face, but
Yeah.
I was thinking real hard. I was like, how does that make sense? Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. And then my mind was like, no, Christopher, you idiot. They're both brothers. And it's a tale of one father's two sons. And I was like, oh my God. It makes sense.
So I really dig the artwork or the art style in A Way Out. Like,
He's got
looks,
such big mutton chops.
It looks real good, but at the same time, it looks kind of cartoony.
Is he Kramer? Is he supposed to be Kramer?
He kind of looks like Kramer, doesn't he?
He looks like Kramer with a better haircut.
He sort of looks like... I'm still trying to figure out who it is that the black-haired man looks like. Yeah,
Stiletto?
it's still throwing me off.
Travolta. Not Travolta.
No.
The other guy that looks kind of like Travolta, but it's
I
not
don't think it's a
Travolta.
real person. That's the thing. I think it's a character in another game. Like, he kind of looks like he belongs in Dishonored.
I never played those games.
I'll believe that, yeah.
We'll have to talk
Torvo?
about that another time. Dishonored, though. But
When it comes down to character design, you should always just like, if you're drawing a blank, just pick somebody from your life that's inconsequential as an artist. Like, that guy's probably his accountant. He's just like, you know what, it would be really funny to see Larry as the main character in my game. Just
That's
throw his
pretty
face
good.
in there. And then when he goes to play it later, he's like, wow, what are the odds?
I like that idea. Also, during their interview for Prison Break, No Escape. What's this game called?
A Way Out.
A way out.
For this, I really like the idea of they were like, yeah, we want to play this game. I want to be a game developer just so I can be like, I want to play this game that's kind of about this, this, and this with some gameplay mechanics like this. And then like a couple of years later, you can now play that game. That sounds amazing to me.
It's a good way to design games, at least you could imagine, which is you as a game designer want to play something, so you just make it, right?
Yep. And then you tell the
Yeah.
world to crowdfund it, and then we've got Shenmue 3. Maybe.
We'll talk about that later.
The last thing I want to say about A Way Out is that co-op games that allow cooperative play in which you two don't have to like share a screen or an immediate space or proximity, those are just the coolest to think about when it comes to all of the possibilities and things that can be done. Oh, my computer's like
Freaking
dying
out?
right here. Yeah, okay, I'm back. Everything's smooth again.
He goes, I'm back. So I really like the idea of even if you're playing online, you've still got that split screen aspect. And man, I was telling Neil, I just really love that fact, the one scene where they showed the one guy in a cutscene and then the other guy was actually just walking around.
Yeah.
And just like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
one guy's chatting up a guard and the other one's like sneaking through some pipes. It's brilliant.
it's wonderful. I'm
Yeah, it's
excited.
gonna make for some cool teamwork.
This is a must-have for me, just because me and my wife like co-op games. No, this game would be great on the Switch.
On 2 Switches, maybe.
Nope, one Switch. Because then you gotta like throw the controller sideways, and you gotta like figure out the weirdest claw hand that you can to like control everything, just to make Neil's carpal tunnel flare up a little more.
Something off topic, but are you aware of DS games, Nintendo DS games that actually not force you, but suggest that you play the game sideways?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a few really good ones out there. For another time, though, next on the list, and this is maybe one I was referring to as not being super interested in, Need for Speed Payback.
You're not interested in another Need for Speed game?
Don't you mean EA Burnout Payback?
Don't call it Burnout, because those crashes looked kind of amazing when they were playing it, but they didn't look Burnout amazing. Don't
Yeah,
say
it's
Burnout,
true.
Don't say Skate. Don't say
it
Kingdom
can't.
Hearts 3. They're not happening.
It
thought there was
looks
a new
like
Burnout game.
EA's feeble attempt
yeah,
at
you're right.
Burnout, though.
It
The
kind of
only
is.
issue that I had with watching the gameplay trailer is that Mustang must be reinforced with titanium, because you just tapped any of the other vehicles and they just exploded immediately.
The Mustang
and
was
that's
made
not
out
how-
of things that
That's
other
not how
cars
car
weren't.
crashes work.
Are you sure?
They were made with Gundanium.
Are you sure that's not how crashes work, Scott? I saw Fast and Furious the other day.
I've been running people off the road for years, Cookie. I know how they look.
It's an expensive hobby.
I like how Neil in this episode likes to just slightly maim people, and Scott's just on the full-on vehicular homicide, and I haven't killed a single person this time.
You know, Cookie, every time I drove up to record, that was actually a new Honda Civic I was driving. I just peeled the plates off of the last one and slap them onto the new car.
Smart. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
Battlefield 1 is getting new maps and content, and I saw and was excited that they're bringing in the Ruskies. The Russians are coming.
The SARS.
Eggs, yeah,
Yes.
man. The
That's gonna be
all-stars of the
awesome.
war.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
I'm super excited. Is this free? This isn't free, is it?
This isn't free.
I
It's
guess
never
I'll just-
free.
Well, Battlefront 2's free.
Sure.
Well, free-ish. All the extra content's free.
They don't call them free A for nothing.
What?
Sports.
Oh.
Any thoughts on that, or have we already discussed them with the movie?
Sports are good. FIFA's going to be fun, as always.
Wait, they're still making NBA Live games?
No, they are resurrecting the series.
Okay, because
Yeah,
because
we've missed a
2K
few.
2K kind of just said, "Hey, you remember that NBA Live thing?"
On to new topics. The rest of E3, or specifically the conferences, we're looking at Microsoft, which will be later today at 3 p.m. our time, I think.
Oh my
2
God!
p.m.
Why do you have it in Pacific time on this?
That's what I was given because everything's happening in California. That's why. Bethesda's later tonight and Devolver Digital. Bethesda's, it looks like, is only going to be an hour or so. Otherwise, it would conflict with Devolver. Maybe it does. I'm not sure. But I also don't think they have much to say this year.
Who, Bethesda? Oh, they're going to say
Bethesda
like 4 things, and all those games are going to be out in like next month.
Yeah.
Because Bethesda's the anti-Sony. They say a game's coming out, the game comes out. Wait, didn't they just... What you call it a game, though? Delay a game?
What game was that, though? I don't know.
I'm at a blank.
I'm drawing a blank.
I
I just remember that they said Fallout 4 is coming, by the way. Oh, and it's like
For VR?
3 months out.
Oh, you mean for, yeah, okay. That
It's
Fallout
at 4
4 announcement was
4 o'clock
pretty.
today, our time.
Oh, 4 o'clock. our
Super
time.
prompt, and they immediately started advertising all over the world for it too. Like they generated the hype, and then they rolled it, and they just kept going with it for 3 months and released the game. And you know what? They got me with the hype. They got a bunch of other people with it. I bet it totally helped their sales, and I don't see them changing that strategy anytime soon.
Yeah.
I bought that game.
Without talking about the quality of Fallout 4, I
Right,
think
'cause
that
we
was
don't wanna
a
talk about that.
fantastic release and marketing plan.
I bought it.
Yeah.
I hate Fallout.
Actually, considering the quality of Fallout 4, we should say it was an even better strategy and release, because I bought that game, and they got me. They pulled the wool over my eyes.
Oh, Bethesda.
So, Monday, PC Gaming Show, Ubisoft, and Sony, which Cookie and I will be going to the theater showing in Omaha for Sony's E3 conference. Are you going to, Scott?
No, I'll be hanging out. I'll catch it online or something.
Great. So then you can write up all the reports and screen capture
Can
it for
do.
us and do everything necessary. All right, awesome. That we
Perfect.
actually don't do. That's fine. Nintendo's also got something on Tuesday. So I'm just
Treehouse.
throwing these all out as a reminder. My question now is, what do you guys want to see this E3? What are you looking forward to, rather? What are you predicting you'll see? And what far out idea do you hope that you'll see?
Okay, first, what I'm looking forward to seeing. Well, I don't know. I want to see Bethesda just whisper something about Elder Scrolls 6, because as sad as I am about the quality outcome of Fallout 4, I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hoping that they listened to the comment and feedback on Fallout 4 as far as their like story and dialogue writing, and I just want to see them show that Elder Scrolls 6 is not a yes no sarcastic option question mark type of dialogue game, because if so, then I can't buy games from Bethesda anymore unless it's through Arcane.
Mind if I chip in for a second too?
Please do.
I kind of hope we don't hear anything about the next Elder Scrolls game, because I think part of their problem is that they've been holding on to this system. I know it's different engines and so forth, but this basic system that they've run between Fallout and the Elder Scrolls games for far too long. And I hope they need to get at least another couple years in on development before they can say anything.
Unfortunately, you're not going to hear anything about Elder Scrolls 6, guys, because they just came out with the Morrowind expansions for ESO Online.
Yeah.
So they're kind of busy.
That's true. They're going to push that.
Yeah. Unfortunately. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's a good thing. They need to take their sweet time on the next game they release, because we're not the only people getting upset at Bethesda for releasing arguably shitty games. And
Wait, we're upset at Bethesda?
I'm not actively upset, but I don't think there's been a good game developed by Bethesda specifically in a while. Like, I think not The Last of Us. What was that game with Shinji Mikami?
Shinigami Tensei?
Yes. The Evil Within. I honestly think The Evil Within is the best title they've developed in the last 5 years. And that's saying a lot considering people don't like that game that much.
That's true. Yeah, and I mean, I'll say that maybe I'm not hostile towards Bethesda as a big fan of their work, but I'm certainly like very skeptical about what they're putting out now after my experience with Fallout 4.
And Scott, you like New Vegas, right?
I love New Vegas.
And that wasn't even Bethesda, is what I'm saying.
I know. But Fallout 3 was Bethesda, and if
I played
Bethesda
5 minutes of that.
would have, yeah, if Bethesda would have implemented, say, the same fixes that New Vegas had to Fallout 3, I think Fallout 4 could have been amazing. Like, there is some really cool stuff they added. They just were missing out on the really cool, like, story and dialogue and, like, I don't want to say relationship, but, like, even faction options and ideas that existed within New Vegas. Like, if they would have rehashed that for Fallout 4 in a new place, I would have been A-okay with it. But, sadly, it didn't work out that way. And Skyrim, for whatever reason, just really did not hook me at all. So my last favorite Bethesda game, came more from Arcane Studios, and that's Dishonored.
Okay, I get you now. A title that was published by Bethesda. And
yeah, but
I do want to note, too, that like I have nothing against the people or games that they publish. It's the ones that are developed in-house that I'm particularly not fond of lately.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, too, is we all acknowledge that they made good games that were enjoyable. It's just lately it hasn't been as rewarding to be purchasing their in-house made games. So that was my what I hope to see, because I don't actually think I'm looking forward to it necessarily, and it's probably not a good prediction as you guys pitched. I don't know what else to say, though, for predicting to see. I think we're going to see from Sony, what is it? Hideo Kojima is probably going to have no part in the show whatsoever, which is going to be weird. So, I mean, he's not going to show up for Sony anymore, and it's going to seem like an absence because he's always there for Metal Gear Solid or something.
Yeah, in particular, I think it's because Death Stranding won't have anything to show at E3. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's also part of it. Yeah, as far as looking forward, I'm looking forward to what Nintendo has to pitch about their upcoming releases. I want to see Super Mario Odyssey and some more stuff about it. It looks really fun.
Nintendo seems like the one company that we have a very great idea. Like, we have the best idea of what Nintendo is going to show us.
Right.
I don't expect any surprises there. But that being said, I think I'm equally as excited for all of Nintendo's E3 showcasing. I guess they call this the E3 Direct, right? Or something similar to it.
Nintendo Direct or the Nintendo Playhouse?
Nintendo
Treehouse.
Direct E3? I don't know. It sounds like it's not going to be too long, but
never is.
I don't think they've necessarily bring their biggest guns to E3 anymore. Like, that's kind of a trend amongst all companies at this point. Not all, but I guess I'll go next. I'm excited, and I think you'll be too, Scott, once I remind you that we will be seeing Detroit Becoming Human. That game's got to be close to done.
I don't know. It's got Sony labeled all over it.
So that's one thing I know we will see, and I'm excited to see if there have been any improvements to quality of life in terms of the David Cage games. I hope he's learned a lot from like the critical response of Beyond Two Souls and the success of Heavy Rain. Like, not to say Heavy Rain doesn't have its faults. It's got a lot of flaws, but most of those flaws were awesome and enjoyable. So, have you played Heavy Rain, Cookie?
No, didn't that come out after Beyond Two Souls?
No,
before?
It had a remake, and yes, it came before Beyond Two Souls. We should play that. That would be, I think, a fun game to put you through. As for what I want to see, this is the wild, never gonna happen thing, but I wish Sega would announce Phantasy Star Online 3.
It's got a better chance than Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out.
I don't think it does. Like, I just saw recently Phantasy Star Online 2 having some sort of campaign along with Final Fantasy 14 in like this weird twist of fate when I was just last week saying that, you know, if Final Fantasy 14 had PSO gameplay, I would probably be in love with that.
I mean, if you want to play, I can just go ahead and buy a monthly subscription. And we can...
No, but that's the problem. Final Fantasy 14's gameplay is too boring for me.
But you can ride a fat chocobo. Chocobo.
Yes.
Which one is it?
Oh my god, I almost said Choboco. Chocobo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah, I have a feeling that PSO2 still has a bit of life left, and I don't think there's necessarily going to be another one after it has died out.
More things Neil wants to die.
I don't want it to die.
Yeah, you sound like me in these Magikarp I'm raising.
As to anything else that is hitting me, I'm curious to see what Devolver Digital has, because that's basically an indie publisher, and I'm sure I will have not heard of any of the games they showcase this year. So that'll be
What'd they make?
I don't know of the things they make themselves, or maybe aren't they just a publisher? Some games that I know they've released recently or published, Gods Will Be Watching. That's not recently, mind you.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh, did you play it?
Yes, I own it, and I'm about halfway.
Holy
through
fuck!
it.
They're Hotline Miami.
Yeah, they publish
Broforce?
a lot of awesome games.
Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, they're like I said, they're seriously like the caretakers and keepers of indie darlings. Oh, you know what? There was some weird talk about a possible new From Software title being brought out during E3. And while I think it's really unlikely because it's not Tokyo Game Show, I would love to see Bloodborne 2.
You know who else would love to see Bloodborne 2? Scott.
Me.
Yeah. I think that would be
I assume you
awesome.
meant me.
I did mean you.
But I don't think it's going to happen because Miyazaki has been on the record saying that like he's basically done with Dark Souls. And so I always imagined that by extension meant Bloodborne.
No, he's done with Dark Souls.
No,
Not Blood.
I can totally understand how you would take that as an extension of Bloodborne, though. Like, I kind of made sure not to get my hopes up as well. When he said he was done with Dark Souls, I went, okay, Dark Souls-esque titles, including Bloodborne as
Right.
well then. There's not going to be a Demon Souls 2 either. Like, all of the spiritual successors or Blood Souls games, I figured were out after that. Which means we get whatever that mecha game, Armored Core, right? Now we get some more Armored Core.
Which that'll be cool too.
No, I'm down with Armored Core. That gets my ish.
We're both just nodding frantically right now, Scott.
Oh man,
So-
Me
Armored's
too,
fun.
actually.
Now we just need to get a gif of Scott nodding.
Oh,
Not
there's
a video,
plenty out there.
A GIF. What are you looking forward to, Cookie?
Honestly, nothing really. Like the hype train hasn't hit me this year. Honestly,
The
I
hype
kind
train hasn't left the station.
I kind of forgot E3 was going on until like 20 minutes before the EA press conference.
You were at the junction 5 miles down waiting for the hype train, got bored, and left.
Yes. Pretty much, because it's like, I guess I can become more excited for certain things depending on what Microsoft throws at me because I've got the beautiful PC, but I'm a PC and Sony gamer, and Sony's real depressing during E3.
Is it? I feel like
No,
Sony
no.
has had some amazing E3s recently.
No, Sony has amazing E3s. They're really depressing 20 minutes after their E3 ends when you realize you got no dates for nothing.
Okay, yeah. I understand that. I really understand that.
So just like black kids waiting for their dads to finally pick them up to go to the Disneyland, I'm doing my best not to get my hopes up.
When all you know is he went out for milk.
He's coming home today. I know it, guys. So my wild prediction is Sony is going to show games and they're going to pull a Bethesda on us. And they're just going to be like, and this game comes out next month. This game comes out
by
in
the
2
way,
weeks.
Final Fantasy VII Remake that comes out right after this conference ends. Boom.
We only kicked off CyberConnect 2 because they were done.
Okay, then quick interjection, because I've changed what my hope is, and I realized that my hope or big dream it has nothing to do with Elder Scrolls actually. Bethesda, I want them to make another Doom game, because you know what? That is something they did right. They made Doom and it was awesome. I want to see Bethesda make Doom 2 now.
Did they develop it? I thought it was actually id that did it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It came from id. Another thing from Bethesda publishing, but not producing. Damn it.
You know, new expectation. Bethesda's just like, guys, we've decided to stop developing games. We will only publish
We're just
games.
a publisher. That's fine then. I think that's better.
We're going to give Fallout to id. As different as those games are, my expectations for Doom were real low, and the single player campaign on Doom was one of the most amazing experiences in that was 2015?
2016.
2016. Okay. I'm sad I didn't talk about that at the end of the year then, because that game deserved a lot of it deserved some accolades.
Certainly agree.
That game was too scary. I didn't play it.
And then I don't know who they would give Elder Scrolls to.
Shinigami Tensei, probably.
Yeah, there
cares?
you go. What if Hashino and Studio Zero was taking on the role of responsibility for developing the Elder Scrolls games from here on out?
So it was a typo, and it was supposed to be Bethesda and not ReFantasy.
Or ES instead of RE. ES Fantasy.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know.
Well, there's the hopes and dreams.
I got a wild prediction. Nintendo was like, remember when we did that Pokemon Direct, guys, the other day? We were just fucking with you. Stars, here it is. Here it is, Stars for the Switch.
Oh god, that's actually, yeah, that... I mean, I doubt that's going to happen, but that would be amazing, right?
That would be the best. Actually, I would 100% guarantee that even the people that don't own Nintendo would be like, yeah, Nintendo won E3 at that point. That would be amazeballs.
If you want to email us, you can reach us at podcast@fancyramen.com. Any questions, suggestions, concerns, legal matters, that's the best way to contact us.
Are we watching anime?
Oh, yeah, we should actually talk about that real quickly. We're going to watch Tokyo Godfathers next. Is that correct? If you're interested in watching along, definitely do that and join us next week.
It's a movie, so you only have to commit like an hour 32 hours to it.
Yeah, so find us on YouTube. Review us if you've liked what you've heard so far, or if you're enjoying this podcast. Just search up Fancy Ramen, 2 words. Again, another exciting episode with you guys. I'm Neil.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Cookie.
See you later.
Have a great one.
Bye.